Hi everyone, I am Neville Aga, an account SC with Cisco Systems in the public sector organization for Oklahoma. I am recording this for the EN Innovate series on Tuesday, August 19th, and this is a preview of the presentation I will be giving entitled UPoE My MacBook Air, our idea for the Innovation Forum for their consideration. All right, UPoE My MacBook Air. So, first, some housekeeping stuff. This is just an idea. It's not a roadmap, not anything that's been done that we know of. And it's also intended to be a working document. This is something that we can't do on our own. We definitely need engineering to take this ball and move it forward. So, if you guys see value in this, this is something that you guys can make your own. And I see it as low-hanging fruit, something you can get a quick win with. And I'll explain why here as the presentation goes further on. So Dr. Zoidberg wants to know why. Why am I here today? Why am I talking to you guys? What is this all about? Well, this is tell you what it is and what it is not about. It is about Cisco's switching market share. So as we all know, switching is still the lion's share of our revenue. It accounts for slightly under now 50% of our revenue. But it's declining. The wired port is definitely in decline. Declined some 4% on this last quarterly earnings report. And we have to have a way to excite people about the wired port so we can protect it and we can grow it. We have to grow this business. This is not this presentation I'm going to give you. I'm going to be talking about a proposed product that we want you guys to manufacture, test out. But it's not about generating revenue for this particular product. Okay, that's the wrong way to look at it. This is a loss leader. This is just something to make switching more valuable in the eyes of consumers. So I went back and I looked at some of we had 60-watt PoE in our switches for about 2 years now, seems like, with the 4500, and recently also in the 3850 line. And I went back and looked at some of those original presentations, and they talked about the great 60-watt ecosystem, which there were lighting control system manufacturers. There was always the concept of, these phones are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, bigger color screens, so great new phone, a great PoE security camera that has requirements for local storage, all those kind of things that will eventually drive to 60 watts, why we need more power to come out of the Ethernet jack. So yeah, and that was 2 years ago. So we have this great 60-watt ecosystem. Obviously, some people are going to bring up the Wise terminals, something that plugs in a monitor, monitor, keyboard, mouse, all done out there. My question is, where are those devices? Name a product. So you guys are a bunch of smart guys. It's the Innovation Forum. Name a product. What product actually uses 60 watts that I can plug in right now into a 60-watt UPoE line card? I don't have any. My customers aren't running any. I can't even think of any. Furthermore, even if you can think of any, show me the product on Amazon. There aren't any. There are, so this is a real problem. So that ecosystem there, the globe surrounded by everything plugged into the network, these things are disappearing off of the network, obviously. And we're not careful, well, we are going to lose what market share we're going to maybe dominate the market share for wired Ethernet switching, but wired Ethernet switching is just going to go the way of the dodo. It's going to go the way of the 8-inch platter hard drive or 5 1/4 floppy, any other number of things. Why MacBook Airs? 8 million. Apple sold 8 million MacBook Airs last year. So when I think about, I can't think of any 60-watt PoE products, even if I could think of some Wise terminals or if I could think of some security camera or something like that, there are going to be millions of these. This is a use case for a few hundred here and there in specialized applications. Let's think bigger. Let's think generally. 8 million MacBook Airs last year. That is a lot of devices to plug into our 60-watt UPoE ports. And then also green. If you have to have an idea for the enterprise, why this is a good idea for the enterprise, let's talk about green power. Those MacBook Airs have a 45, 60, or 80-watt power supply. But even the 45 watt power supply does not draw 45 watts out of the wall. It's only 50% efficient. It draws something like about 90 watts out of the wall to deliver 45 watts to the actual computer, DC. We, with our 4500s, with these huge, massive 9,000 watt power supplies, we can get much more efficient in our power supply. Plus, not mention have a battery backup and everything else that goes along with that. If you're stack power, all those types of things. We can get 80% efficiency out of our large power supplies that we do at the IDFs and MDFs. So, for each MacBook Air, you're talking about a savings of, instead of 45 watts lost to the AC to DC conversion, maybe we're only now losing 10 watts to the DC to DC conversion. 35 watts times 8 million of these devices globally, in an enterprise, tens of thousands of devices times 10 watts, yeah, hundreds of thousands of watts, millions of kilowatt hours annually. So that absolutely speaks to the business and speaks to being green. So that's a great reason that we can do this. That's another reason this is a quick, easy win for us. All right, so here is the side profile of a MacBook Air. As you can see, the MagSafe power connectors here on the left side, along with the USB 3.0 port. There is no RJ45 in these laptops anymore. We're all well aware of that. We should be painfully aware of that. But the fact these two are right next to each other makes it for a quick, easy hit. This is what people need. They need power, and they need a USB in there, even if not for to plug into wire, because obviously they're all plugged in wirelessly now. Well, they need it for other peripherals and stuff like that. Oh, plus, by the way, wired typically gives you a better experience, obviously, than wireless. We can go much higher. We can go these gigabit speeds. There are reasons that we want to plug in like this. What's Cisco giving to this ecosystem? That. We're giving a plug. This doesn't equal that. So what we're asking you guys to consider developing, putting out there, is pretty simple. This device right here would take in an RJ45, supply 45 watts PoE to the MacBook Air, and it would also supply a gigabit wired Ethernet adapter to the laptop. Thing like that around, people would start using it. People would keep that with them. They would keep that in the office next to the cable, or they would keep that with them in their pocket, in their backpack, and they don't have to lug around a big heavy brick wherever they go from place to place. It would make life a lot better. It would make this much more valuable. All right, some of the needs that we can think of that we'll need you guys to investigate and check. From what I can find, the MacBook Air runs at about 15 volts at 3 amps to get to those 45 watts. Our UPoE does 50 or so, 57 volts, I think, from what I've seen on the documentation. So we need some sort of DC to DC conversion that you guys would need to work into the product. You guys are smarter than me. You guys know how to do that and what that would entail. So that's one of the things that I can see that we'd need to put into it. How can we actually bring this market? What kind of solution could we have for this problem here? We obviously can have the Cisco manufactured part, which I just put up there. Or we could do a reference design for the likes of Plugbug or Anchor. There are all kinds of people right now that do power for consumer devices. Do a reference design. Let them develop the product. Let them put it out there. And once people have it in their pocket, the idea is they will seek out wired network connections. Nobody's seeking out a wired network connection right now. So I'll give you all a few minutes to think about which way is a better solution, a Cisco developed part or a reference design. Okay, what additional value can we drive from this? What other things can we do to expand this idea? Well, there's some obvious ones. Besides just UPoE to a MacBook Air, how about a UPoE to a Lenovo Ultrabook? Those are also only 45 watts. Those are easy to do. How about PoE to an iPhone or an iPad? We don't even need UPoE for that. We just need some converter that goes from a wired jack to getting to straight to our iPhone, iPad, USB cable, all those type of things. Or how about a straight PoE to USB power adapter? All those fall under the same heading. And the thing that ties all these together is these are all consumer targeted. They are not enterprise targeted. So we need to have our thinking here. We need to have some reason that consumers start demanding the wired Ethernet jacks, because trying to sell it to the enterprises, well, it's getting a tougher and tougher sale as the enterprises want more and more wireless, more and more mobility. Let's get something that the enterprise say, oh, my consumers are wanting this, that's why I want to pick it up. All right. So the obvious benefit to the customer is they don't have to lug around a power brick in this case for their MacBook Airs. They also get high-speed connectivity to their MacBook Air, 1 gig wired, as opposed to wireless, flaky, on-off type connections. They recharge their batteries on their MacBook Airs as they walk around campus. Lots of customer value. Value to Cisco? Well, obviously, let's think big picture. We need to have people wanting our wired ports. So take a look at this video.
There they are, clustered around power outlets, near the recycling bins, stained carpeting, and bathrooms. Tethered to the wall, denied the freedom to enjoy even the most basic things, like grabbing a drink, or sharing a laugh with your coworkers, or sitting with someone you know.
It says your iPhone's coming out soon.
But it's a better battery.
Totally.
You're stuck here until your battery says so.
Really?
After all that time.
I gotta plug in. You come in? Actually, I'm okay. Are you changing your battery?
Yep.
Is that the new Samsung?
Yep. Have a good one, man. Don't be a wall hugger.
Sorry.
Get ultra power saving mode and interchangeable battery on the Samsung Galaxy S5. The next big thing is here.
So why am I showing that? I've got an S5 and I didn't show it for ultra power saving mode. Ultra power saving mode sucks. It turns your screen black and white and it's not incredibly useful. I showed it because that could be us. The whole idea of people trying to seek out electrical outlets, airports, things like that. How about if they are wanting to seek out this? Can you imagine a throng of consumers in airports or wherever else, hotels, businesses, anything else like that, saying, hey, give me a wired Ethernet port. I can do the rest. Give me a wired Ethernet port. The need for batteries it's not going away. We're going to have more and more demands on power and batteries and everything else like that. So, the idea that I definitely did not show that commercial for any great battery technology. We are going to be stuck for the next decade, 2 decades, whatever, with needing to find plug-in for power. Let's give consumers what they want. Let's give them a reason to say, hey, when I walk into a business, yeah, I know you had to guess wireless and stuff like that, but can I plug into a wired? Do you have a wired that I can get into? If anybody goes into an office space right now and asks for a wired connection, the answer is, I think it's broken. I don't even know if it's worked. I don't know if it's terminated and stuff like that. Let's get a groundswell of demand. Let's get people demanding, I need a wired connection. It solves multiple problems for me. All right, competitively, as far as I know, this is not competitors are not hitting this. In fact, I do not know that competitors are doing 60 watts PoE. So it should be an easy win for us. I'm not even sure how much you're doing 802.3 AT power over Ethernet. So this is something where we have this huge advantage that we could easily solve a large problem here. So can competitors copy it? Yeah, probably so. But this is not about competition taking something from our switching to Juniper switching to Aruba switching or anything else. This is growing the market. All those guys are facing the same problems as we are. The mobility is doing good, it's growing okay, but wired Ethernet switching is dying. And it's a problem that's causing, it's a massive problem for us and all the other IT companies. So this is about growing the whole market. Not so much gaining market share, but growing the market for everybody. All right, and then the challenges, obviously there's a challenge. I don't know how about working with Apple. There's the technical challenge, the political challenge, right? The technical challenge I'm trusting on you guys to figure out. The political challenge is just getting Apple to agree us to use their product. If not, then no, but it really should be Apple. It needs to be Apple. I think that will drive consumers to it. That'll drive copycats and everything else like that. So if we need to get a certain VP to talk to a certain VP in Apple or whatever else, we're Cisco. We have a seat at the table. Let's make that happen. All right. What do we need? The proceeding was really